Good afternoon, y'all. I am making a healthy dinner tonight. We're going to have vegetables and baked pork chops. So the vegetables I'm making is just what I call fried squash. It's not really deep fried. It's just cooked in a frying pan. So it's not boiled in water. It's actually just sauteed in a frying pan. But it's called fried squash around here. So anyhow, I'm going to start by taking 2 pieces of bacon, just cutting them into little chunks like this, and putting them over here in the skillet. And I'll let those cook. Might be easier to cut this with scissors. Hold a second. That's what I usually do. Just whack it with the scissors. Of course, it'd be good if I had sharper scissors. I like to, you could, fry it up whole and then crumble it up, but I just like to go ahead and cut it into little pieces and do it that way. So I will finish getting this all cooked up, these little pieces, and then I will get right back with y'all. All right, I'm back, and you can see this this bacon is cooked down really nice. It didn't have quite enough. I'm gonna turn this light off so there's not a glare, but it didn't have quite enough fat on those just 2 little pieces of bacon, so I added 1 tablespoon of butter. Now I'm going to just slice an onion, and I usually just cut each end off, and then, well, I'll half it. And then it's easy to peel these outer sections that you don't want. Off the onion. So now I've got 2 halves of an onion, and what I do is I just slice it like this. So I'm making half circles of onion like this. You can see that's just a half a circle. And then I just divide it out or open it up, each layer, and toss it down in here in the oil with the bacon. You talk about a heavenly aroma. That's what this is right now. Oh my gosh. Onion and bacon. Make the house smell really good. Bob will come in here and have his mouth watering. So get all that onion in there. Just let that, and stir that around with the bacon. Now if you have fresh yellow squash in your area in the grocery store, you could use that. That's what I prefer, but I wasn't going to the grocery store today, and I didn't have any that I'd already bought. But I did have some in the freezer where we put some up last year, and I'd already sliced it and froze it that way. So it's thawed out. It's a little bit more limp than if you bought, fresh squash. But it'll be just as good. So I'm going to just toss that in here with the onions and the So I'm just going to lay this squash in here on top of these onions and let it all just saute together. Now this squash, I've been draining it, trying to get the liquid out of it, because you know when you freeze squash, you blanch it first. And so it had some water in it. And I have been letting it drain. So hopefully it's not going to be too watery. But that's fine too, because we'll just saute this until the water cooks out of it. And that'll just make squash that much more tender. So just spread all around here on top of the onions. You can see it makes a nice big pan full. So this would probably be equal to about maybe 4 or 5 of the little yellow squash that you can buy in the grocery store. Just slice them up, put them in there. And then I'll just add a little salt and pepper on top of that and let it saute until it's really tender. Let me turn the fire up just a little bit, get it going. And once I find the right lid for this pan, I'll put a lid on it. It's not in that drawer, so it's probably over in the dishwasher. But anyhow, I'm going to saute it a little while without putting a lid on. And then I'll add the lid and let it continue to cook until it's nice and tender. And I'll get back with y'all. Okay, I'm back. I found that lid. It was in the dishwasher, so I've got it on my squash now. The other vegetable I told you we're going to have is some green beans. So again, I had some frozen green beans in the freezer where we had put them up last year. They're really bright and pretty green still. So I'm going to dump those in a boiler. And then I like to add a little garlic to my green beans. So I've got like a half a teaspoon of garlic. That's just minced garlic. And then I'm going to use vegetable broth to boil these in. I could have put, a chunk of ham in here or some more bacon or whatever, but since I've got bacon in the squash, and that was my last 2 pieces of bacon, we're just going to do it with the vegetable broth. And I think this will cook up nice and tender and be just fine. So I'll let those start cooking down here at this end. So that gets my 2 vegetables going for the dinner. I might steam a couple of ears of corn for Bob. I'm trying to stay away from the starchy vegetables. Still trying to do good on my diet, but anyhow, I'll let you know when I start to do the pork chops. All right, y'all, I'm back. I'm about to prepare my pork chops now. I just have some center cut, boneless pork chops. Again, something I had put up in the freezer. So tonight's actually let's pull everything out of the freezer that we can use. I'm taking my little pan and covering it with non-stick tinfoil, because we don't want these things sticking to it. And I'm going to broil them in my little toaster oven instead of putting them in the big oven and heating up the whole kitchen. So we've got 81-degree weather here today, so I'm just trying to, and here's the little pork chop. So they're boneless. You could use the ones with the bones in them, but I just prefer to use these. And let me wash my hands real quick. All right, so I like to put garlic powder on them. Some pepper. Some salt. And then I'm going to use some Worcestershire sauce on them. I love the flavor of the Worcestershire sauce in with the pork. So I'm just going to put a few drops of it now, but I will be basting them while they're cooking with more Worcestershire. So just makes it smell really good when they're cooking. So I'm going to put these over in the little toaster oven, and I will let y'all see them in a little bit. Okay, hey there. I want you to see how great this squash is looking. Does that look good or what? All that bacon in there. The squash is very tender, as you can see. It's just super. So got that turned down to as low as it will go, and I'm just going to let it sit here and stay warm. And then over here, the green beans are simmering away down in this pot, and I'm sure they're tender by now. But you know, here in the South, we really like our green beans cooked well done. Don't want them to be mush, but definitely don't like crunchy green beans. So let me show you what I've got over here this is in the little toaster oven. I've got that meat in here cooking. Let me pull this out so you can see. I just flipped it over and added more Worcestershire on this side. So as soon as this brown's good, then I'll test and make sure it's done in the center. And if it is, then we will be eating. So just gotta let that cook for probably about 10 more minutes or so. And then right here, I've got my corn for Bob already in the little steamer here, and I'm going to cut that on in just a few minutes, so that'll be nice and hot when dinner's ready. Anyhow, that's it for now. That's our dinner for tonight. Hope you get inspired and you can make something great out of your freezer. You know, you buy those things when they're on sale and put them out there in the freezer, and then we tend to forget about them. So, you know, if you go take a little shopping trip in your freezer. Anyhow, talk to y'all later. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.